Welcome to Surveying Lectures by Civil Thinking, and this is our third class on Module 2. Now in this class we are going to talk about field notes or field books. Now you might be aware that we use the field notes in surveying when you are in the field. So when you are field carrying out the survey and observing the measurements, you write them in a piece of paper. We call it as field notes, and generally it is multi-page, a kind of notebook. Okay, so we will talk about it. Okay, now let us read here. Now field notes are the written records of work done in the field. So whenever you carry out the survey in the field, okay, with the help of different equipments like theodolite or tape or any electronic machine, when you carry out the survey in the field, so you record them. Okay, so field notes are written records of work done in the field. Okay, so when you do the work in the field, when you carry out the survey, so you write that down in the field. Okay, not outside the field. You are writing it simultaneously when you are carrying out the survey, when you are observing the different features. So you are simultaneously writing what you are observing. Okay, so we write that in what? We write it in the field notes. Okay, so they include measurements, sketches, descriptions, and other important details. Okay, so basically what we do when we carry out survey, we make the calculations, we do the sketches, right? Sketches of different features. Okay, so all the data that you observe in the field which is important related to your survey, so you write it. If you need to draw a sketch, you draw the sketch. Okay, if you have to write the data in the tabular form, you write it. Okay, and if you need to write something about survey, some important descriptions about it, so you can also write them. Okay, now today's surveyors may use electronic field books. Okay, now initially in the old times we used only the books, the field notes, and we wrote using hand. Okay, so they were handwritten field notes. Okay, now even today we use them, but nowadays the electronic field data, okay, books, electronic field books, they are taking precedence. Okay, now nowadays more and more companies are using electronic field books. Okay, so they basically kind of, you don't have to write everything with your hand. Okay, so they will when you do the survey, they will automatically save the data directly into a computer file. Okay, so you don't have to draw, you don't have to write manually what you observe. Okay, but still then we again use, despite of electronic field books, we also use field notes, field book. Okay, parallel to this electronic field book. Okay, because you might need to draw a sketch, so again you will use to draw the sketches or write some notes. Okay, so you will use handwritten sketches and notes. Okay, so you are going to again use this field book, and you will manually draw the sketches if you need, or you can add some notes or something important details about the survey. So the thing is that nowadays we use electronic field books, but they are also supplemented with handwritten field notes. Okay, so the blank field note, the book, the paper, you will also use it along with the electronic field book. Okay, so they are both used nowadays. Okay, but in the earlier times, most of the things were only done using the field notes. Okay, the empty pages, papers. Okay, but nowadays the electronic field book supplement it. Okay, now general requirements of handwritten field notes. Okay, now what are the requirements of handwritten field notes? It means how you should write the data, right? So how you should write the data in the field book. Okay, so first of all, let me show you an example of a form in this field book. Okay, so this field notes. Okay, so here you can see this is two pages. This is the left page and this is the right page. Okay, so I have by the way, I have already I have created this field notebook basically by myself. I have drawn all these lines because I tried to find on the internet. I could not find something better, so it took me around 2 hours to manually create this field book. Okay, so feel free if you want to use. I have also provided this here. You can see I also provided this. You can simply right click on it and save image as. Okay, so you can use this empty field notes form. Okay, anyways, now so accuracy is top very much important. All measurements must be correct. A small mistake can ruin the entire survey. Okay, so you have to be very accurate. Okay, because I have told you in my previous classes there is no factor of safety in surveying. Okay, since there is no factor of safety, you have to take utmost care in writing down whatever you write in the this field notes form. Okay, so this is the field notes form. As I have told you, the left side is generally the the columns you write the data in the tabular form, and the right side is a graphic. Okay, it is a graph like thing, so you can draw the sketches or you can write other descriptions here. Okay, and the left side is mainly used for the data that you observe, and the right side you can draw the sketches, you can write down the description. Okay, so we will see each and everything. Now, integrity: never skip or fudge data. If something is missing in field, it's costly to go back and redo it. Okay, so what it means, so you don't have to miss any data when you are doing the survey in the field. Don't miss anything. Okay, by the way, it is important, and let me tell you one thing: there is no problem in having an extra data. Okay, it is better to have extra data than missing data. Okay, so it is very important, don't miss or don't fudge. Okay, if something is missing in the field, it is costly to go back and redo it, because when you go back, maybe the site, the construction site or anything that you are carrying survey, when you go back, it might be costly to go back to the survey field again, right? So it is better to see and also check the things in the field. Okay, now legibility: notes must be easy to read. Okay, so these notes should be easy to read. Okay, so you have to provide proper spacing between the data, so that they don't they are easy to read. Okay, so notes must be easy to read. Clear handwriting helps everyone who uses the data later. Okay, so when you have a clear handwriting, okay, so by the way, I have written all these things. Okay, they may not be clear. Okay, you have to try to write even more clear than this, because I wrote this dummy data only for this illustration, only for this class. Okay, so please keep in mind to write everything neat and clean. Okay, even better handwriting than this. Now, arrangement: use forms or layouts that match the survey type. Okay, so basically this form that you see, it is a typical form that we use, but there may be companies or survey type where you might need something different. Okay, so you have to use a proper notes form. Okay, so you have to use the proper field notes, and you will understand it when you are a surveyor. Okay, the company will provide you their own field notes. Okay, so you don't have to worry much about this. Okay, now clarity: draw neat sketches and avoid overcrowding. Okay, so you can see here I have drawn this sketch by myself. Okay, so I don't know if you feel this is clear. Okay, maybe this is not clear, but you have to draw the sketches very neat. Okay, clear notes stop confusion and save time in the office. So let me tell you one thing here, that when you do the survey in the field, okay, so they have taken at the end of the day, and at the end of the day they are taken to the office. Okay, and the office person may be different. You may not be doing the office work too, for example. Okay, so that person, even in your absence, if you are not in the office, because your job is in what field, okay, he should be able to understand everything what you have written, even in your absence. Okay, and this is the reason you have to write, you have to avoid overcrowding. Okay, so you have to provide the proper spaces, and you have to write a neat, also you have to draw the neat sketches, right, so that the office person, he can understand things. Okay, now let's move on. So this was one example of field notes form. Okay, So here you can see this is also another example of field notes form. Okay, also I have drawn, I have filled this dummy data by myself for this class. Okay, and I have written here civil thinking. Okay, by the way, you have to write your own name here. Okay, if you are the surveyor in the field, so the surveyor's name initials have to be written here. Okay, now what kind of pencil do you use? Okay, now in writing this I have not used a physical pencil. I have used it because I am using a graphics tablet. I have written this data using a graphics tablet. Okay, but if you are in the field, you have to write, you have to use the actual pencil. Okay, in writing the data in the paper. Okay, page. Now pencil hardness and corrections. So let's talk about what kind of pencil you are going to use. Okay, so always use a sharp pencil of at least 3H hardness. Okay, so you have to use this kind of pencil which is 3H of at least 3H hardness, so 3H or more. So why this pencil? Because this makes an indentation in the paper that stays legible even if it gets wet, right? So if it makes some impressions, it makes indentations in the paper, right? So if it gets wet, because there are high chances, because maybe the weather conditions are very bad in the field, right? Because you are working outside, so whether sometimes the rain might make it wet, right? So if you had used a pen, right, so the ink of the pen would fade. Okay, and it will spoil the paper. So do not use a pen. Okay, so use a pencil of at least 3H hardness, so which it will make the indentation. So even if this paper is wet, you will understand from the the surveyor, the office person. Okay, he will understand from the indentation. Okay, so what you have written. Okay, so then another important thing, this is very much important. Okay, never erase data. So you don't, if you did mistake in writing an observation, okay, so you don't have to erase it. Okay, so you don't have to use an eraser. You can use a pencil but no eraser. So what you can do instead, if a number is wrong, draw a single line through it. Okay, so you can still read the original and write the correct value above. Okay, if a whole page is voided, draw diagonal lines across the page, write void and note why it was skipped. Okay, now for example, let us say this is the observation. Okay, 8.91, this is wrong. Okay, 8.91, I did the mistake, so I will not erase this, I will draw a line over it. Okay, so as you can see here, I have drawn the line over it, and just above it I have written the correct value. Okay, so the wrong value is also visible and the correct value is visible. Okay, so this is the best practice, so do not use the eraser. Now what if a whole page is void? Okay, so you have to draw diagonal lines across the page. Okay, write void and note why it was skipped. Okay, so let me show you here. Let us say I have written these two pages and it is wrong. So what do I do? I will draw these cross lines, okay, on both of them. Okay, and I will write void in capital, and also I will write the reason why it is void. Okay, so you have to write like this. Okay, so you have to draw these diagonal lines. Okay, again, never cut these papers. Okay, never throw them out. You have to keep everything in the field book. Okay, so there should be no paper cut. If there is a mistake, no problem, just make a draw these cross diagonal lines, because you don't know, sometimes you might need this. Okay, because maybe because of this error there might be error in the office, right? Because in office we process these things for further calculations. So the office person will be able to again refer to this, and because if he has done the mistake, he will see this mistake and then he will correct himself. Okay, so basically this acts as a reference. So even this wrong data is very much important in the surveying. Okay, so let's move on now. So it was about this pencil and corrections. So let's move on. Now let us talk about this types of field books. Okay, types of field books and note keeping instruments. Okay, so what kind of field books do we have? So since field books hold valuable data and must ensure rough use, only high quality books are suitable. Okay, so you have to use some high quality books. Okay, and again, by the way, the company will provide you those books. Okay, so don't worry about that. And if you are in the school, university, your professor will suggest you the kind of book that you have to use. So don't worry about this. Now, figure 2.2.3 shows a blank page. As I have told you, this is the blank page. Okay, you can simply right click and save this. Okay, or copy image link. You can use this. Okay, I have created this for you. Okay, this is free of cost, no attribution required. You can use this if you want. Okay, now what kind of field books we have? We have one kind is bound and loose leaf field books. Okay, so they are, the leaves, the pages are, loose, they are not bound. Okay, now bounded books standard for many years have a sieving binding and a hardcover. Okay, so the bounded books, they were standard for many years. They had a sieving binding. Okay, sieved binding. Okay, and a hardcover made of lacerate. Okay, what is it? Or polyethylene or covered hard book. Okay, now this typically contain 80 leaves. Okay, so 80 leaves of pages and are preferred for courtroom testimony. Okay, so in the courtroom testimony you use them. Now duplicating bound books include carbon sheets. Okay, so the carbon papers were used to copy the original notes. Okay, can be made in the field. Perforated duplicate pages allow easy removal and advanced shipment to the field. Okay, so the duplicate pages, they are perforated so that you can cut them when you have to produce them in front of court or somewhere else. Okay, so you can cut the duplicate, which is the carbon print. Okay, now what were the benefits of this bound and loose leaf type? Flat working surface for easier writing, because you had a hard cover, right? The hard cover provides a flat working surface for easier writing. Simple filling of individual project notes. Okay, easy transfer of partial note sets between field and office. You can easily transfer because you have the duplicate pages. You can cut them, right? The carbon print, you can send them to office or wherever it's needed. Now hold is printed table, diagrams, formulas, and sample formulas. So in short, it have all kind of data. The printed tables, diagrams, formulas. Okay, now different rulings like patterns can be used in one book. Okay, so different rules, for example, here we have table and here we have this graph type. Okay, now saves paper and cost since unused pages are not wasted. Okay, now staple and spiral books are not ideal for professional surveying. Okay, so we can't use stapled or spiral bound books. Okay, but if your professor, if you are in the university, if he suggests that, so you can use it. Okay, but professionally we don't use it. Okay, now let us talk about another things. It is camera. Okay, so you can also use camera in the survey field. Now cameras provide a visual record of monuments and site conditions and can become part of survey record. Okay, tape recorders are useful when lengthy verbal descriptions are needed. Okay, so cameras and tape recorders, you can also use the tape recorders. If you have to write a long description, maybe the space is not a lot. Okay, you cannot write a lot of things, so what you can do instead, you can use a tape recorder to record your voice, to talk about, to describe. Okay, whatever you need to describe. In case the description is long, you don't have to write, you don't have to give a written description, you can use a verbal description. Okay, so for that you can use a tape recorder. Okay, now kinds of field notes. There are 4 note types. Okay, so I will show you here all of these. Now There are four node types: sketches, tabulations, descriptions, and combinations. Okay, now you can see here, let me ask you the question on this is the left page, this is the right page, right? Left and right. Now tell me what is on this left page. You can see this is a tabulation of data. Okay, so this is one kind of data, the tabulations, right? Now what you see in on the right side, what is this? This is a sketch, right? So this is another kind of data, the sketches. Okay, now descriptions and combinations. Now let me show you the descriptions. For example, you can see here I have written the description. Okay, so this benchmark, okay, all these benchmarks, the the right page I have written the the bench, this descriptions, okay, corresponding to each benchmark. Okay, so this description is another kind of data. All right, so we have sketches, this is the sketch, right? This is the sketch. We have tabulations, this is the tabulation. We have descriptions, I have shown you the descriptions, right? And fourth is the combinations. So what is this combinations? Now let me again ask you the question. Now this is the pair of pages from the field notes. Now what is this? Is this whole, is it a tabular data or it is a sketch data? You can see this is, here we have the tabulation and here we have the sketch. So this is a combined data. Okay, so in field surveying, in the field, you most of the times you use combine. Okay, so combined data is common. Why? Because in the surveying you record the data, numerical values. You might need to write a description or a sketch too. Okay, so we use combine of them, right? On one page the tabulation, on other page the sketches or the description. Okay, so most surveyors use combined form, as I have told you, but experiencer recorders choose the best type for each job. Okay, sketches often speed note taking and help office staff interpret data correctly. Okay, so when you draw a sketch, it is very useful for the person in the office. Okay, the office person, because if he gets confusion in reading this, interpreting this data, he will refer to this sketch and he will easily understand where this data, for example 255.48 feet, where does this came from. Okay, so he have a bit of clarification of every data. Okay, he can interpret the data easily with the help of a sketch or a description. Okay, so the office person takes advantage of combined data types. Okay, so let's move on. Arrangement of notes. Now note layouts follow departmental or personal standards. Okay, so as I have told you, what kind of layout, what kind of form you have to use, it depends on the department that you will work. Okay, and personal standards. Okay, now if you prefer one thing as a surveyor, if you like one kind of this format, you can use that if you feel it helps you. Okay, now pages are used in pairs. Okay, you can see the left and the right. So these two pages, they are a pair with title across the top. So you can see here, this is the title. Okay, now the heading includes project name. Okay, so this is the title. Okay, so for example, double direct angles, Temple University campus. Okay, then we have, after title we have this heading. Okay, now in the heading we write the title of this the project. We also write the date of project, for example 25 August 2024. You write the weather conditions. Okay, clear survey, clear, sunny, 89 degrees Fahrenheit, for example. Now this is the name of the surveyor. Okay, I have written my name here. Okay, this pi, okay, this pi means instrument operator. Okay, so one who is the instrument operator, the pi, it looks like a theodolite, right? So you use this symbol. This symbol means he is the operator. Okay, you also have to write down here what kind of instrument have you used. Now you can see here, I have written wild theodolite #6, wild theodolite number 6. Okay, so this is the serial number, #6 is the serial number of the this device, and this is the name of the device, wild theodolite. Okay, so you have to write down the name of the instrument that you are using in the surveying. Okay, so everything, so that the title, okay, the date, the weather conditions, the name of the different the team, okay, and you have to write the name of the instrument that you are using along with its serial number. Okay, so let's move on. Now here are some suggestions for writing recording notes. Okay, write the owner's name and address on the cover and first page in ink. Okay, so you don't have to use pencil on the the cover page because the book have a cover, right? So you write the owner's name and its address. Okay, so the survey field who it belongs, okay, the name of its owner, you will write it with the help of your pen and its address, but it is on the cover page. Okay, so you will not use, this is not cover page, this is the the middle pages. So here you have to always use your pencil of hardness 3H or more, but on the cover page you can use your pen, no problem in that. So you have to write your own, the owner's name, the land, the survey where you are carrying out the survey, the land to whom it belongs, you will write the owner's name and his address. Okay, so the address of the field. Okay, now another tip is start each day's work on a new page. Okay, so one day, if you have multiple, if you carry out surveys for multiple days, because that is often the case. Okay, so for one page, okay, this pair of page will be for one day. Okay, so for another day you will use another pair of pages. Okay, because pages are, the paper is relatively cheaper. Okay, so you will not overcrowd the data to save the paper. Don't save the paper. Okay, or be clear. Okay, because paper is cheap, but the survey, it takes a lot of time to do the survey. Okay, and write this data, to observe this data. So this, your data is more valuable than the paper. Okay, so don't worry about the paper, don't overcrowd. Okay, please write neat and clean. Okay, now some other tips. Use a standard note form or design one for your project. Again, you can use a standard form like this that I have provided in this page. Now record, let me first read this. Include explanatory details and extra observations when in doubt. Okay, so when you feel that you must provide some explanations, write the description on the right page. Okay, for example, I have written this description against each benchmark. Okay, so if you feel there is some need to explain more, so don't be scared, write that down. Okay, now include explanatory details and extra observations when in doubt and if you need them, right? So record readings exactly. Okay, no mental arithmetic in the field. Now this is very important. Okay, so whatever you observe, just write it down. Okay, so don't carry out mental calculations. Okay, so don't carry out calculations. For example, you measure, for example, let me show you here. For example, you measure one distance, okay, from A to B. Okay, this is, for example, 10 feet, and then from B to C, this is, for example, 3 feet. Okay, for example, now you will not do the mental calculation like 10 plus 3 is 13, and then you will write from, this is A, this is B, then you will write the distance of AB to be, you will 10, like 10 plus 3 is 13. Okay, so you will not do this. Okay, what you will do, this was from A to C, right? But don't do this. You will clearly write from A to B, it is 10. Okay, because this is what you observe. Okay, from B to C, okay, this is 3. Okay, so you did not carry out the mental arithmetic calculations. Okay, so don't do this. Whatever you observe, just write it. Okay, just care about the the significant figures rule that I have already told you in my previous classes. Okay, so where was I now? So now the next point is run notes down the page. Okay, except in route surveys where they follow the survey direction. Okay, so run notes down the page. Okay, so you generally begin from top. Okay, write the data from top to the bottom. Okay, top to the bottom. Okay, so this is your flow, general flow. But except in route surveys, okay, sometimes I will talk about this route survey, I don't know how you pronounce that, okay. There you don't have to use from top to bottom, okay. So you have to use something different, okay, depending on the direction of the survey. So you will write according to that, okay. Anyways, don't worry about that. The thing is, right now normally you have to follow from top to the bottom, okay. Now use sketches when they improve clarity, okay. I have told you to draw the sketches, okay, because they will help the office person, okay. So whenever you need to draw the sketches, draw them, okay. Now you can, you should also carry a scale, a straight edge, and a protractor with you, okay, because these tools, geometry tools, will be needed in drawing, the accurate sketches, right? Now draw sketches in general proportion and label features clearly, okay. Now you have to draw, in the general proportion, okay, and label each feature clearly. So what it means, general proportion is like, for example, if this is 10 feet, this is this much long, this, it obviously means 3 feet is, lesser in length than 10, okay. So you will not write like this. For example, if it is 3 from A to B, okay, if this is 3 feet, so obviously 10 feet you will not draw from here to here. For example, C, this is 10 feet, so you will not draw like this, right? Because obviously 10 is more than 3, so obviously you will draw maybe like more than 3 times the length of this, for example. So you will use a straight edge, okay. So let us say this is C, so this is 10 feet, okay. Now this makes more sense, okay. So use the proportion, use your logic and draw the sketches whenever you feel, okay. And label features clearly, okay. Now let me show you some features that you observe. You can see here I have written here Ellis Road, okay. Again, this is just a dummy data that I have written. So this is, if this is a feature, so you write it here, okay. Similarly here, this was one feature, okay, so you wrote here, okay. Now this is another feature, river cruise, okay. You wrote this feature, okay. So you label the features, okay. You label the important features, okay. Now where was I? And label features clearly, okay. Now align descriptions next to corresponding data. For example, benchmarks opposite elevations, okay. So here you can see, for example, you can see here these are STA means stations, okay. So this is benchmark 1, and you have written the elevation of this benchmark. For example, this TP1 benchmark, its elevation is written in the corresponding row, okay. So for example, this benchmark 1, it is, backside reading is 0.46, you wrote it in the same row, okay. So the foresight is 11.72, you write in the same row, because this row belongs to this, all of this row belongs to this benchmark TP3, okay. Similarly, the elevation and the adjacent elevation, okay. So you wrote the things, relevant things, in the same row, okay. Now align descriptions next to corresponding data, okay. Now also the descriptions you can see here, for example, this benchmark oak, okay. So this I have written the description of this benchmark oak in the corresponding right side, okay. I didn't wrote this is benchmark oak is here, I didn't wrote the benchmark oak description on the top or below, okay. I wrote it next to it, okay. Now place is 0 before decimal. For example, 0.37, you have to write 0.37 and not 0.37, okay. And use significant figures to show precision, okay. Now I have already made the video lecture, as I have told you in my previous class, significant figures, okay. So this is the reason I suggest you to please watch my video lectures on surveying, in the playlist, okay. Now before leaving the field, check arithmetic and closures, okay. So when you are done, don't leave the site, okay. Don't leave the field first of all carry out some check. Okay, you can see here I have carried out some checks here before leaving the field. Okay, so you have to do this in the field, because if something is wrong, you are in the field and it won't be expensive or tedious if you don't check, and then you might need to come back again. Okay, so that might be expensive, okay, or uncomfortable. So in the field, don't leave the field, but first of all, first carry out the checks, necessary checks, whatever you need. Okay, and we will see in our coming classes what kind of checks do you need. That depends on the type of survey that we will carry out. Okay, so don't worry about this is just an introductory class. Keep a current table of content for each field book. Okay, now the table of contents for each field book, there is, for example, if you make any changes, the book, there are, the table of contents page, you will also write there. Okay, any updates you will, kind of write there. Okay, so it is that even the table of contents is updated when you write down the new data. Okay, now sign your surname and initials in the lower right of each original note page. Okay, so you have to write your surname. Okay, I have used civil thinking, but you have to use your surname and initials. Okay, here. Okay, this place. Okay, so I hope you understand everything. Okay, now if you have any doubt, okay, or if you need help in any surveying, please feel free to contact me, or you can comment your doubt. I will definitely try my best to help you. Okay, so that's it for today. See you in the next class. Thank you.